You're listening to Jeremy Vaeni's Paratopia vlog, right here on YouTube. Paratopia! It's Jeremy. This is my book Urgency. It is coming out March 29th. You will love it, or you will hate it. Either way, I hope you own it. I'm tired. I look like ass, but I'm here anyway. And why? Because it's a lot easier than writing on the forum, and I'm lazy. In the free forum at the rec center, someone was asking. I have a thread up there about Broadcaster. There's this website called Broadcaster that everyone should check out. Broadcaster.com, which is spelled Broadcastr, right? Broadcaster, like there's an E missing. So broadcaster.com without that last E, I guess keep off the E for savings. And what this website is a storytelling website where storytellers such as myself and John Flynn, if anyone recalls John Flynn from various shows, we tell stories from our lives, and you can listen to them for free, and you can see the location on a Google map of where these stories took place. And I think ultimately they want to have this uploadable to people's iPhones and stuff like that, so you could actually tour around, say, New York City, and whatever your interest is, UFOs, comedy, whatever, you would put in your interests, and when you get to that section of town or that specific location, up would pop a story from a narrator, such as myself, John Flynn. So, if you want to hear stories from my wacky, crazy life, go there and put in the search term Jeremy Vaeni. That is Jeremy _ Vaeni, or John _ Flynn, and our stories will pop up. And check it out. It's just a really cool site. So, in any event, one of my stories on there was my big I am God enlightenment experience, and some of the experiences that preceded it, one of which was feeling as though I were possessed by something gargoylish, demonic in, I should say, features, physical features. I don't really know that it was demonic. But in any event, someone on the board was asking me, was it scary? What were you like the next day? Like, what is it like coming out of that? How does that change you? And that's the piece of it I guess I wanted to talk about here, because again, I'm lazy and don't feel like writing it. But just to recap, essentially, I've got this energy in me that moves me around and makes me do weird things. I shouldn't say that. I mean, this isn't weird to people who know what it is, which is kundalini, nam, chi. You've heard all of these different names for this energy. And some people think that these different names imply different energies, and I'll let you know a little secret that's actually not in my book. But really, what the gradations are in how docile the energy is. So it's almost sort of how self-aware or self-active this energy is really the difference maker in terms of how people experience it. It's not that it's different energies, it's that it is one energy multitasking depending on the needs of the person. And for a guy like me, who is completely oblivious to all things Tai Chi, meditation, yoga, blah, 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 I need a self-aware energy to come in and make my body do them. So that would be kundalini, right? And these other forms of the same energy have various other, characteristics which make them seem different, but they're not. They're just, however unself-aware you are is how self-aware this energy becomes in the vessel, in the body. In any event, so there's your lesson for the day. There's your thing no one's ever said before of the day. So something separate but related to that energy is the thing that I've felt thrice, which is what feels like a slit opening at the base of the spine and a bed of blissful energy. And I hate using this word energy because what does it mean? But basically it feels as though you are on beads of beating, I don't know, energy. Sort of makes you feel like you're levitating almost. You're not, but it makes you feel like that blissed out and that airy and that light, which for a fat guy like me, hard to make you feel light. But it does. It accomplishes that. And all 3 times, so you feel this pour into you throughout your entire backside and then pour out. And the first time it was just that. Poured in, blissful, no pain, wonderful feeling, rah. Poured out. The third time, of course, was the big God I Am experience where the bliss energy poured in and then I poured out with it and became nothingness and then became everythingness, blah, blah, blah. But the second time was completely odd because bliss energy pours in and with it, a possession. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. And I don't have a belief in possession, and I don't ascribe any of the nasty evilness to it that I guess is sort of connoted there. But I could see if I were a Christian, I would, because what came in was red. I could see it superimposed over me. I'm looking at my hand as I'm saying, because it was like, I'm looking at my hands, and they're like red gnarled claws, and I could feel it gnashing my teeth, and I could see its shape superimposed over me, and it looked like a red gargoyle or demon. I mean, it looked like something out of a tune. And it gnashed my teeth, and it was, and I could feel its feelings, which were, I guess the thing that I'd said on the board that was somewhat confusing is that it felt immensely ancient and powerful, but not intellectual, or not intelligent, meaning intellectual. And it felt like it could, run me around and kill my roommates and run me mad into the streets or something like that. But it wasn't going to. It was just basking in the glow of being alive for the few moments it had through this body. Now, I don't know that that's what it would do or that is what it is, but my only association is what I've seen as a demon, which are pretty evil, terrifying things. So this thing comes in, it basks in the glow of being alive, it's like, and then it leaves. And previous to that, with this, just the regular old kundalini energy, if you don't know any better, you might think that's possession because it's moving you around. And if it's not your will moving you around, whose will is it? If you don't know any better, like I didn't, these are the questions that you ask. But that's not possession. That's essentially universal energy or truth, however you want to put it, moving in your body when you step out of the way. And the 2 ideas that I had toyed with were, does the body have its own language when you shut up? Does the body speak its own natural language? And then some genius wrote them down ages ago and said, here's this system called yoga. Here's this thing called whirling dervish twirls. Here's this thing called Tai Chi. I mean, is that what happened? Is that what happens when, monks go up into the mountains for years and years and years and they come down with a new system of martial arts for everyone? How did they figure it out? Just off the top of their head? No. It was given to them, given in quotes. It's what the body does to be healthy. But is that the body's own natural language? And purely, no. No, it's not. It's something, I shouldn't say it's something speaking that language. It is oneness, God self, however you want to put that, truth, speaking truth language through body. When the lie, this guy, the liar, the facade, goes away. So I come to sort of recognize that, or at least recognize that as a possibility, and then further cemented that was not a possession when I actually was in fact possessed. And again, I have no belief system for possession, but I don't know what else to call it. I mean, this was a beast. And as I said, it wasn't intellectual, but again, part of the confusion was I had said it wasn't intelligent, but it was immensely ancient and powerful, which I guess the person on the forum, I think it was Piglet Shameful, who always has awesome questions, asked, well, how is it ancient and powerful and not intelligent? Because you usually think of intelligence and wisdom and that sort of thing when you think ancient. And I guess the example I gave of something ancient but not smart would be a demon or a dinosaur, which I don't think this was a dinosaur, and I'm not certain it wasn't a demon, but I would say that we don't know what demons are. We don't know what that means, if it was. All I mean to say is that it was not intellectual in the way that we are. It ain't inventing shit. But powerful, and I don't know how to say that other than you intuit it just in the same way that you're intuiting its emotions, and what it's doing here, basking in the glow of being alive. That's just, you assume it's interior dialogue. Let's put it that way. When it becomes you assume it's interior dialogue. So, how did it change me? Well, when it happened, after it happened and I sort of jumped up out of bed, I guess it was kind of scary to think about, although nothing bad happened. It was scary and it was awe-inspiring at the same time, because it's like, well, that happened. Now you have to deal with that. Like, it doesn't matter that you don't have a belief system for something. When it happens, like, what do you do? So it's like, well, that just happened, so that's real. I guess goodbye, my belief system. But at the same time, it raised more questions, and it's like, what is this? What is this thing, this slit that opens? Why is this different than the normal movement energy? And then what does it all mean? Is there some creature sitting at a gateway, like, waiting for people to open up? I honestly, I guess, sort of felt that, and I have, again, no way to qualify this, but it felt as though there was a prior agreement for this to happen. And I don't know what that means. I don't remember making an agreement. But I had that feeling at one point. And, the weird thing is about any of this changing me, I went through so much shit in such a short period of time because I didn't attach myself to any of it, that I think it's almost like going through a real experience, holding a camera up to your face. If you're out doing a nature show and you see a couple of bears fighting and you have a camera up, well, it's a lot easier to sit there and watch those bears because you've got this distance between you and the bears, right? You're this you're not really there in the situation, you're documenting it. And there's just as much chance that you'll get your head lobbed off as there isn't for anyone else. But you don't know that because you've got this false sense of security called the camera. And I had this false sense of security, or real security, I don't know which, called moving through all of this, right? So instead of becoming attached to any of the things that I was experiencing, be they psychic or possessive or kundalini awakening or any of this stuff, or even the big God experience, it was just a matter of going through them to go through them, to see what was next. I didn't want to get attached to any specific experience. I didn't want to explore becoming a psychic, for instance. I very well could have done that, but then that becomes your new reality, and then you start exploring that level, and I didn't want to do this. I wanted to do this. And ultimately, I think when you do this, when you reach another state of consciousness that then becomes your stage, and you start living on that stage, you once again get caught up in the dream. And all of this is a dream. All of this is a dream. But you don't know it until you step out of it. Until you have that moment of the I am experience. And then you go, oh, yeah. It's not even about climbing. It's not even about the vertical ascent into spirit. It's about all of this is a game. There is no climbing up and landing at another stage and calling that reality. This climb is monkey bars. From the objective point of view, there's no vertical, there's no horizontal, so you might as well be swinging on monkey bars. From our point of view, you feel like you're getting somewhere, right? And I didn't want to do that. I sort of knew that just from reading Jiddu Krishnamurti. I had the sense of, see it all the way through. Don't get trapped in the land of poppies, and don't be amazed, as Jeff would say, Jeff Ritzman. So I guess that's the long way of saying that, in the end, because I was moving through things so quickly, on purpose, that I didn't, I don't think it had a chance to change me, you know, like in a hugely significant way, other than the hugely significant way of saying whatever real is, this is real. Like whatever that means, this is no longer a fairy tale or a cartoon. This is a possibility. This is something that happens to people. How many of those people go mad? How many of those people do kill their roommates and go flailing into the streets naked and then have an insanity claim? I don't know. For all I know, those people are insane, and this creature, whatever it was, would never do that. But again, what do I have to compare it to? Just the superstitions and, you know, the noise that I've grown up with culturally, more so than with my family, thankfully. So there you have it. And again, because I was going through this stuff so quickly, it wasn't like I just got up that day, got up from this experience and was like, oh my God. Because this was one in a long line of oh my gods that continue to unfold. And, you know, it's lesser now. You know, it was a lot of blah then, because, you know, part of what this kundalini does is it's not just exercising your body, it exercises all of you. So it exercises your intellect by giving you epiphanies, many of which appear in my book. And psychically, it awakens the psychic stuff that, you know, you read about and wonder if it's true or not. Well, you get to see what's true and what's not. And so on and so forth. So it works you on all the levels that you really do exist on. And so when you have a concentration of that in a short amount of time, you know, span of months, you know, who has time to be amazed? Like, the whole thing is amazing, and this is just one more thing to ooh and ah at, and ponder, I guess, but really no more or less so than any of the other stuff. I mean, really, the thing that I'm still stuck on is, what is this slit? Why is that quality of energy different? Why is it doing something dramatically different than the normal kundalini stuff? And why can't I open this on my own? Like, the kundalini is ever present in the body, and all I have to do is shut up for 5 seconds and this thing will start moving me around. I don't know how to open or close this slit. But I have a feeling that we'll find out. We'll find out by the end of Urgency how exactly all of this works, in spite of me not knowing right now. So make of that what you will. All right, Paratopia. Until next time, sweet dreams. I've already got the bedhead. Time to go to bed. This concludes Jeremy Vaeni's Paratopia vlog right here on YouTube.